How Albert Einstein turned failure into genius. Let's start at the beginning. Not the part where Albert Einstein became one of the most famous scientists in history. Not the part where he stood in lecture halls, explaining theories that would change how we see the universe. No. Let's start with the part nobody likes to talk about. The part where he failed. Einstein wasn't a school star. In fact, his teachers thought he was slow. They said he was lazy. They believed he would never amount to much. When he was a child, he didn't speak fluently until he was about 4 years old. Some thought something was wrong with him. In school, he struggled with certain subjects and didn't always follow the rules. He wasn't the kind of student who memorized answers and repeated them on command. And that was a problem. Because the education system back then rewarded obedience, not curiosity. Einstein wanted to understand why things worked, not just what the answer was. But his teachers didn't like that. So, when it came time for him to apply for college, he failed his entrance exam. Yes, the man whose name is now used as a synonym for genius couldn't get into college on his first try. Now pause for a second. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Most people would feel embarrassed. They'd start believing what everyone was saying. You're not smart enough. You'll never make it. You're just not cut out for this. Einstein could have listened to them. He could have given up on his dream of studying science. He could have taken an easy job and lived a quiet life. But here's the thing. He didn't. Instead, he tried again. He studied harder. He kept asking questions. He kept thinking differently. And eventually, he got into college. But the story doesn't suddenly turn into smooth sailing from here. Even after graduating, Einstein couldn't get a job as a teacher or researcher. No one wanted to hire him. He sent out applications, and they kept coming back with the same answer, no. So he ended up working at a patent office, reviewing inventions, stamping papers, and earning just enough to get by. Now here's where most people make the mistake. They think, if my dream job isn't available, I'll just wait until it is. But Einstein didn't wait. While working at the patent office, he used his free time to think about physics. He wrote papers. He developed ideas. And in that small, quiet office, he started building the foundation for what would become one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs in history. Let's stop here for a moment. What if Einstein had gotten a job at a university right after graduation? What if he had been surrounded by professors who told him what to research and how to think? Maybe he wouldn't have had the freedom to explore his own ideas. Maybe he wouldn't have written the paper that introduced the world to the theory of relativity. Maybe the name Einstein wouldn't mean anything to us today. Here's the lesson. Sometimes the doors that close on you are the very ones that push you towards something bigger. Einstein's failures didn't break him, they shaped him. The rejection forced him to think independently. The setbacks made him patient. And the doubt from others made him determined to prove them wrong. In 1905, while still working at the patent office, Einstein published 4 papers that shook the scientific world. This was his miracle year. And it all started because he kept going when others told him to stop. Now let's talk about you. What patent office are you in right now? Maybe you're stuck in a job you don't love. Maybe you've been told no more times than you can count. Maybe people around you think your dream is unrealistic. That's okay. Einstein's story shows us that your current position does not define your future potential. You might be sitting in a small office, or working late in a quiet room, or feeling like no one notices what you're capable of. But greatness doesn't always start in the spotlight. Sometimes it starts in silence, when you keep working even when no one is watching. Einstein didn't wait for the perfect moment. He created it. He took the time he had, the place he was in, and the tools he could reach, and he turned them into something extraordinary. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the training ground for success. Einstein failed exams. He was ignored by employers. He was misunderstood by teachers. But he didn't let those moments write his story. He used them as fuel. So ask yourself right now, what have you failed at? What rejection still stings when you think about it? What moment made you question if you were good enough? Now imagine if you used that exact moment as your reason to keep going. Einstein didn't become a genius because everything came easy. He became a genius because he refused to let failure stop him from asking questions, from thinking differently, and from trying again. And here's something worth remembering. The same people who once doubted him, the same teachers who thought he'd never achieve much, the same employers who rejected his applications, they lived to see the day when the world called him one of the greatest minds in history. So maybe the people who doubt you today will one day tell others how they knew you back when. Don't give them that satisfaction because you quit. Give them that moment because you didn't. Einstein's life is proof that you don't need the perfect start, the perfect school, or even the approval of others to make a difference. You just need to keep going, keep learning, keep thinking, and keep moving forward, even when it feels like you're stuck in place. Because one day, when the pieces come together, it won't matter how many times you failed. It will only matter that you never stopped trying. If Einstein's story lit even a spark inside you, pass it on. Someone you know might be one failure away from finding their genius. And if you want more stories that remind you that setbacks can be the start of something great, make sure you subscribe. Because your story isn't over yet, and your next chapter could change everything.